Well, it's Monday morning, and we are going to continue with the reading of the Bible. Now, for those of you who are just coming, I want to say welcome. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you all so much for joining me as I venture on this quest to read the Bible in its entirety and try to understand it for myself. And as I go on this journey, I have decided that I'll share it with you. Now, let me just preface with this. I do not, and I repeat, I do not endorse any particular religion or denomination. What I'm simply trying to do is to understand the Bible for myself by reading it and getting the context of its contents. Because all my life I have been told what was in the Bible, I've been taught to recite it, and I've had questions that have never been answered because either the people I'm asking do not know the answers or they do not care to divulge the answers to me because I had such an inquisitive mind when it comes on to the Bible. And so I have decided this is my second go round of reading the Bible. The first time I read the Bible in my early teens, I did not get much from it. All I got from it was the honor that I had been patient enough to read the Bible from the beginning to the end. But now that I am older and I I am more purpose driven when it comes to reading the Bible. I I believe I'm getting more out of the reading than I did several years ago when I read it the first time. And so I've decided also to share this journey with you. And so I want to welcome you all into my channel. I want to welcome those of you who are just coming in, those of you who have been here with me since we started on this journey 2 years ago. I want to say thanks to you all. I sincerely appreciate you coming in. And those of you who have contributed to the channel in terms of your comments and contacting me outside of YouTube so we can have meaningful discussions, meaningful conversations about the readings. I sincerely appreciate you. You know, I have friends and even family members who they come into the channel, they sit there, they listen, but they're like, "Trev, I ain't saying nothing because I don't even know what to say." But I'll be there listening to you, talking about the Bible and checking the Bible for myself and reading along with you. But honestly, oftentimes we don't know. I don't know what to say, so I really don't say anything. And that is so true because oftentimes I myself don't even know what to say when it comes to this stuff that I've read in the Bible. I'm like, I'm shocked. I'm astounded. I'm taken aback at the revelations, the conversations, the prophecies that are that are in the Bible. And I oftentimes, to be honest with you, I oftentimes I'm so stunned I don't know where to go with it. So if you have read anything that can provide some additional clarity just to anything you hear me reading, believe me, I will never be offended if you offer me some additional literature, if you have a different take on something. If you have a different opinion on any topic that you hear me read or talk about, I would appreciate it, because certainly it's our differences in thoughts and ideas that has made the world so beautiful, and especially the literary world, the world of literature and thought processing and understanding. That's what has made the world so beautiful. So if you have any information that would provide additional clarity to what we are reading in the Bible, it would be greatly appreciated. Because after all, the Bible is so influential in just about all our lives that it does behoove us to know what is in it and to understand what is in it, to see how relevant it is to our lives today, and how it can help us to modify our current existence and the existence of our future generations. In the book of Exodus, it is said that the Lord told Abraham that his seed is going to multiply, they're going to be prosperous, they're going to be rulers over the earth, they are going to be wealthy, they are going to be abundant and have abundance, and how they're going to flourish all over the world. But as we've read along onto the book now, we are onto the book of Jeremiah, and we see where it seems like the word has taken a roundabout turn. AG AG is here. Good morning, my love. How are you doing? Good morning to you. I hope you're having a great morning so far. I've been up for the last 2 hours, going over some of the readings in Jeremiah, because so far Jeremiah has become one of the more interesting books. I read the Kings. The Kings was good. Ezra, Nehemiah. Those books were interesting. But I'm telling you, the book of Jeremiah, which seems to be a very revered book in the Bible, where a lot of religious people draw for the book of Jeremiah all the time, and claim that he was one of the greatest prophets. But as I've been reading the book of Jeremiah for the last month, I'm not sure where they got that greatness from, where Jeremiah is concerned. But I'm still reading, and I'm still learning, and I'm still open to learning even more about this fellow called Jeremiah. Because in comparing what the Jewish God said to Abraham in Exodus about his seed going to conquer, and he's going to give them the land that he's going to give them, and how they're going to flourish and be wealthy and prosperous and influential and all, to Jeremiah, who is now saying the Lord has told him that when he is finished with the Jews, neither man nor beast will exist. Ain't that a stark contrast to what was promised to Abraham in the Exodus? When in the Exodus, they say the Lord told them they will be his people and he will be their God. Now in Jeremiah, Jeremiah said the Lord told him that the people should go to serve Nebuchadnezzar. Really? Really? Why would the God of Israel tell the Jews to go serve the enemy? What strategy could that be? And in reading this and analyzing it, it tells me that Jeremiah is probably working for Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar's probably paid Jeremiah. Because you see, my friends, Nebuchadnezzar is the enemy of the Jews. You have to understand. Nebuchadnezzar is not for the Jews. He's not a Zionist. He's not pro-Jew. Nebuchadnezzar is the enemy of the Jews. Now, this is based on the Bible. Okay? So if the God of the Jews is going to say to them, go and serve the enemy, and he's going to give the enemy authority to come in and take the land of the Jews, take everything they own, take everything, and then take the people, slaughter them by the sword. He's going to slaughter them by the sword, by famine, and by pestilence. He's essentially going to annihilate them. He's going to eradicate them. How then is it that the promise to Abraham is going to be kept when there will be no people to uphold the principles and the precepts that were promised to Abraham? Now, if you have that answer, if you have found that answer in the Bible or wherever you have found that answer, I would be glad to hear it. Because to me, reading it as an ordinary person, I'm no theologian, I'm just reading the Bible for myself so that I can have an understanding of its contents and compare the writings in the Bible. People who say the Lord told them what they say he told them. And comparing all these people who are saying the Lord has told them stuff. Why has the Lord told everybody something different? Why isn't there any cohesion in these prophecies? And when there is no cohesion in the prophecy, it tells me that somewhere in there, somebody is lying. Somebody is making up a story. There's a Jim Jones there somewhere, or more than one Jim Jones there. Claiming to be a prophet, claiming that the Lord told them something that is probably not true. Now, in the beginning of the book of Jeremiah, he had said the Lord had told him that many of the prophets who had come and claimed to have come in his name, were liars. They had caused the Jewish people to act on lies, to believe lies, and these lies had come in his name. So Jeremiah prefaced with that so that he could elevate himself to being the more revered prophet, to be the prophet who the people should believe. Because you know that is the way of a politician. A politician comes in and he discredits the politician before him so that he can convince the people that the politician before him was a fraud. The politician before him was no good. He was a liar. But here I am. I am your knight in shining armor. I have come to redeem thee. This is the vibe I'm getting from Jeremiah. Now, when we read, it's been a few days since we haven't read the Bible. But when we read chapter 36, when we read chapter 36 a few days ago, I'm going to go over, I'm going to read a few of the latter verses for us so that we can get a little bit of a recap, you know what I mean, of what we read last time that will take us into today's reading. Now, when we read chapter 36 last time, it talked about how Jeremiah, had called Baruch, how Jeremiah had called Baruch to listen to him tell Baruch what he claimed the Lord was speaking to him, and everything that the Lord was telling him, he wanted Baruch to write it. So Jeremiah claimed the Lord was talking to him. And as the Lord spoke to him, he repeated the words that the Lord was telling him. You know, remember, this is coming from his mind now. He says the Lord was speaking to him in his mind. And he was repeating the words that the Lord was telling him. And Baruch was writing it on the scrolls. Then he had asked that whatever was written on the scroll should be read to the people in the temple. After it had been read to the people in the temple, it was told to the king what was read. And the king, essentially, to cut long story short, and the king essentially burnt the pages of the scroll of those words that Jeremiah had Baruch write on that scroll that he said the Lord had told him. Now, why did the king choose to burn the papers, the sheets of the scroll that was essentially the Lord's words? Now, I say essentially because Jeremiah said these were the Lord had spoken to him, and he had said the words that the Lord had told him. He had said them to Baruch, and Baruch had written them. Now, after the king had been told that this is how these words came about, why did the king choose to burn them? Let us look at Jeremiah chapter 36 and verse 29. Now get your book Bible or your Google Bible and come along with me. Let us read. Verse 29 says, "And thou shalt say to Jehoiakim, king of Judah, Thus saith the Lord, Thou hast burnt this scroll, saying, Why hast thou written therein, saying, The king of Babylon shall certainly come and destroy this land? Now you hear why Joachim burnt the scroll. You hear what was on the scroll? That the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, was supposed to come and destroy the Jews, and shall cause neither man nor beast to exist. Now you tell me, if somebody came to you and said, the Lord has told them that your household will be destroyed. There will be neither your husband nor your wife, you, your kids, your dog, your cat. Nothing will be left when these intruders come. They are going to destroy everything. What would you do? You're not telling somebody to come out of your house. Wouldn't you chase them out? What would you do? What would you do? So here the king is frustrated. The king is angry. Like, why would Jeremiah, who is supposed to be a Jew and his prophecies are supposed to be pro-Jew, why would he be saying that the Lord told him that Nebuchadnezzar shall come and take over and slay all the people? When he is done with this place, neither man nor beast shall exist. Think about it. That's why the king got upset and ripped up all the pages and threw them in the fire. Verse 30 says, therefore, thus saith the Lord of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, he shall have none to sit upon the throne of David, and his dead body shall be cast out in the heat of the day and in the frost of the night. So here Jeremiah is saying the Lord has told him that the seed of David shall no longer sit upon the throne in Judah. So you all understand that since King David, the throne has been handed down to his generation, to David's generation, from David to Solomon, from Solomon to Rehoboam, from Rehoboam to his son, it has come down. The only time there was a break in the handing down of the throne was when Athaliah had crowned herself queen after she had caused the slaying of her son and her grandsons. But Joash, her grandson, had escaped. And so Joash was eventually ascended to the throne. And then from Joash, it has been the kingdom, the king has been coming down again through the male descendants of David. Athaliah was the only break where there was a woman in there. But now Jeremiah is saying that the Lord has told him that the kingdom of Judah shall no longer be governed by the descendant of David. Do you think Jehoiakim wanted to hear that? No, Jehoiakim is a descendant of David. So in his mind, I believe, he's thinking, so what is going to happen? If the throne is no longer going to be ruled by a descendant of David, who is going to rule it then? Does that mean that my children, my sons, are going to be disinherited? What's going to happen? So you can understand why Jehoiakim was as upset as he was and burnt the scroll. Let us continue. Verse 31. And I will punish him and his seed and the servants for their iniquity, and I will bring upon them and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem and upon the men of Judah all the evil that I have pronounced against them, but they hearkened not. Then took Jeremiah another roll and gave it to Baruch the scribe, the son of Neriah, who wrote therein from the mouth of Jeremiah all the words of of the book with Jehoiakim, the king of Judah, had burnt in the fire, and there were added besides unto them many more words. So Jeremiah got Baruch to rewrite the scroll and to add to it as well. Now let's continue with Jeremiah chapter 37. And King Zedekiah, the son of Josiah, reigned instead of Coniah, the son of Jehoiakim, whom Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, made king in the land of Judah. So here, Nebuchadnezzar has made Zedekiah the king of Judah. Now remember, Jeremiah said King Nebuchadnezzar was going to come and take over. So here in chapter 37, King Nebuchadnezzar has come in and he has taken over, and now he is appointing the king of the Jews. So he has appointed Zedekiah to rule over Judah instead of Coniah. Coniah, who is the son of Jehoiakim, was supposed to inherit his father's throne. But since Nebuchadnezzar is now calling the shots, Nebuchadnezzar has appointed King Zedekiah. Let's continue. But neither he nor his servants nor the people of the land did hearken unto the words of the Lord, which he spake by the prophet Jeremiah. And Zedekiah the king sent Jehukal, the son of Shelemiah, and Zephaniah, the son of Maaseiah, the priest, to the prophet Jeremiah, saying, Pray now unto the Lord our God for us. Now Jeremiah came in and went out among the people, for they had not put him into prison. Then Pharaoh's army was come forth out of Egypt. And when the Chaldeans that besieged Jerusalem heard tidings of them, they departed from Jerusalem. Y'all hear that? The Pharaoh's army, the army out of Egypt, had come into Jerusalem, had come up into Jerusalem. But then remember, the Chaldeans had besieged the city. Because remember now, Nebuchadnezzar and his whole army were now taking over Jerusalem. So much so that Nebuchadnezzar was appointing the king. Now remember, Sister Winsome, how are you doing, my love? I am on Jeremiah chapter 37, my love. Now, guys, at this point, Nebuchadnezzar has now taken over Jerusalem. Nebuchadnezzar, the Chaldeans have come in. They have taken over. Remember, Jeremiah said they would. So now they have. And so much so that Nebuchadnezzar is appointing the king of the Jews, when all along in Jewish tradition, it was the son of the king. A son of the king was the one who was appointed to be king after his father. And they were all descendants of David. So now Nebuchadnezzar is coming in and he's changing the order of things. He has appointed Zedekiah to be the king. The pharaohs have come up into Jerusalem from Egypt. The Chaldeans who were there now sort of taken over. They are running out of Jerusalem because they're afraid of the pharaohs. Verse 6. Then came the word of the Lord unto the prophet Jeremiah, saying, Thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, Thus shall he say to the king of Judah, that sent you unto me to enquire of me, Behold, Pharaoh's army, which is come forth to help you, shall return to Egypt into their own land. Pharaoh's army has come to help the Jews? Really? Let us continue. Verse 8. And the Chaldeans shall come again and fight against this city and take it and burn it with fire. Verse 9. Thus saith the Lord, Deceive not yourselves, saying, The Chaldeans shall surely depart from us, for they shall not depart. For though he had smitten the whole army of the Chaldeans that fight against you, and there remain but wounded men among them, yet should they rise up every man in his tent and burn this city with fire. Verse 11. And it came to pass that when the army of the Chaldeans was broken up from Jerusalem, for fear of Pharaoh's army, then Jeremiah went forth out of Jerusalem to go into the land of Benjamin, to separate himself thence in the midst of the people. You all hear that? So the Chaldeans who had come up, taken over, overrun Jerusalem, they were driven out by the pharaohs who had come up from Egypt. Now, Jeremiah said, the Lord said, the Chaldeans, even those who are wounded, shall return to take over Jerusalem, to burn it with fire. Verse 12. Then Jeremiah went forth out of Jerusalem to go into the land of Benjamin, to separate himself thence in the midst of the people. So Jeremiah left Jerusalem, now gone into the land of Benjamin. Same as separate himself from the people. But ain't he the prophet that the Lord is supposedly telling what he's going to do to the people? So is it that he's trying to escape the impending doom that he has prophesied against Jerusalem? Because he said the Chaldeans shall return and burn the city with fire. Verse 13. And when he was in the gate of Benjamin, a captain of the ward was there, whose name was Irijah. That's Irijah. He was the son of Shelemiah, the son of Ananiah. And he took Jeremiah the prophet, saying, Thou fallest away to the Chaldeans. Then said Jeremiah, It is false. I fall not away to the Chaldeans. But he hearkened not to him. So Irijah took Jeremiah and brought him to the princes. Irijah is onto something there. He is suspicious of Jeremiah, just as I am right now, of Jeremiah's motives and why Jeremiah is doing and saying the things that he's doing and saying. His prophecies are not for the Jews. And I don't see the benefit for the Jewish people from these prophecies that Jeremiah claimed are coming from the Jewish God. But let's see what happened to Jeremiah after Ahijah brought him to the princes. Now he's in the land of Benjamin. Verse 15 says, wherefore the princes were wroth with Jeremiah. Of course, they're angry with him. And they smote him and put him in prison in the house of Jonathan the scribe. For they had made that the prison. So Jeremiah caused problems in Jerusalem and then him run Ghana Benjamin. When Jeremiah was entered into the dungeon and into the cabins, and Jeremiah had remained there many days, then Zedekiah the king sent and took him out. And the king, of course, yes. Remember now, Zedekiah is appointed by Nebuchadnezzar. I said before that I believe Jeremiah is working for Nebuchadnezzar against the Jewish people. Verse 17 said, then Zedekiah the king sent and took him out. And the king asked him secretly in his house and said, is there any word from the Lord? And Jeremiah said, there is. For, said he, thou shalt be delivered into the hand of the king of Babylon. Moreover, Jeremiah said unto King Zedekiah, what have I offended against thee, or against thy servants, or against this people, that ye have put me in prison? Where are now your prophets, which prophesied unto you, saying, the king of Babylon shall not come against you, nor against this land? Therefore, hear now, I pray thee, O my lord the king, let my supplication, I pray thee, be accepted before thee, that thou cause me not to return to the house of Jonathan the scribe, lest I die there. Winsome, me laugh too loud in the people them house. Winsome. You you hear me? You hear me? People, it is not me saying it. It is the Bible I'm reading and analyzing. Of course, it looked like Jeremiah is an undercover worker for Nebuchadnezzar. That's what it sounds like to me. And people, I've tried my best to come into the reading of the Bible as a blank slate. I've tried to abandon everything that I have been taught at church in my 50 odd years on this earth. I've tried to abandon everything and come in to the reading as though I am just hearing about the Bible. And boy, I'm telling you. So here, Jeremiah is saying to King Zedekiah, listen, take me out of this prison. You see, the prison they have put him in is in Jonathan's house. He said, take me out of this prison, for I don't want to die here. Verse 21, this is the last verse of chapter 37. It says, then Zedekiah the king commanded that they should commit Jeremiah into the court of the prison, and that they should give him daily a piece of bread out of the baker's street, until all the bread in the city were spent. Thus Jeremiah remained in the court of the prisons. Let us continue. We are going to move on to Jeremiah chapter 38. And I hope you guys are listening to what I am reading, because what I am reading is from The Bible is not something I've made up. It's not something I sat in front of my computer and draft up. It is the good book. The book that we all grew up on. The book that we all believe in. The book, the same book that we are all afraid of reading in its entirety. But anywho, we are not attacking the book. We are reading what is in it because it is so influential to our lives. It sounds like Jeremiah was doing some. I tell you, I believe, now this is my analysis so far of Jeremiah. I believe, as when some say Jeremiah was a troublemaker, yes. I believe Jeremiah was a paid operative for Nebuchadnezzar. Jeremiah has said everything that is counter-Jewish, even though he was a Jew. Jeremiah and his prophecies were all against the Jews. Now, I understand if you say, oh, the Jewish people, they were disobedient to their God, and their God was punishing them, and all of this. Yes, their God was punishing them because they were disobedient. I understand that, if you say that. But what is the measure of punishment that is reasonable? What is the measure of punishment that is reasonable for a whole group of people who the very same Bible have claimed are the chosen people, are the people who the Lord told Abraham he was going to cause them to flourish and grow both in numbers and in wealth and be great rulers? How much of greatness are they ever going to achieve if their only punishment is death and destruction? But you say kill I today, you cannot kill I tomorrow. So if the constant punishment for the Jewish people is death and death, how are they going to grow? How are they going to maintain power? If they have got to maintain power, they have got to maintain their numbers. They have got to maintain their authority. They have got to maintain their wealth. So why is their punishment always the reduction of their numbers, the reduction of their wealth, the invasion of the enemy coming in and taking over their property, displacing them, causing them to lose their power and authority in the region? How is that establishing them? That is counterproductive. That sounds like the act of an enemy, not the act of just a God who is punishing me for doing one thing wrong, but still has me in his favor that I should be the all-in-all authority in this region. Does not sound like it. And here comes Jeremiah. And Jeremiah is trying to discredit every other prophet before him. He's saying that all the other prophets before him, God says that they were liars. And they said they saw God in their dream. He mentioned Moses. He mentioned Samuel. And he's saying all these prophets caused the Jewish people to act on lies. And now he's elevating himself and saying he is the one that they are supposed to believe. His prophecies are the prophecies that they are supposed to believe. And right there, he says, the Lord says, Nebuchadnezzar will come up, take the people as captives, and those that he did not take, he's going to slay with the sword. Their God is going to punish them with pestilence and famine. And those who are left, when all of this destruction is done, those who are left should voluntarily go serve Nebuchadnezzar. Why would the Lord tell his chosen people, the Jewish people, to go to serve Nebuchadnezzar, the enemy? That could not be a strategy for growth at all. At all. He says, while you are down there, go ahead, continue breeding, have children, plant your gardens and eat. After 70 years, I will come again for you. You know what can happen after 70 years? After 70 years, all these people are indoctrinated in the ways of Nebuchadnezzar, serving the god, the Baal. After 70 years, the people, the older people have died out, so the traditions of the Jewish people have died out with those people. Very few people are going to be left who will hold on to any Jewish tradition dearly. Pretty soon, you know that if traditions are not passed down from generation to generation, they eventually die out. Imagine in 70 years, what would happen to Jewish traditions if they were not upheld, and if the people were forced to abandon these Jewish traditions and go by the traditions of the Babylonians. So this was definitely not productive. And Jeremiah, in my estimation, is trying just about everything to convince the people that he is the real prophet, and the people are not buying it. So now, when the pharaohs have come up from Egypt, they claim. So if we have this, I have 3:58 right now. What's your time? So as I was saying, so with Jeremiah now telling the people what the Lord has told him, he's making himself to be bigger, better, more favored, and more believable to the people. With some, I'm not gonna stop with you, you know. Listen to me. I don't want nobody beside me to come tired out my old bones. Tell me, here, sister, with some. Nope. No. The thing is, you know, when some, I was tired after driving down. I was tired, and so after I was on the live last night before my grandbaby cut off the live, and I was just like, okay then, never but I got turn it back on. Let me just go on. I was cooking the rice and fish last night, and after we ate, me just crashed right here up on the couch, and I slept from about eight something. Yeah, from about 8 something. Because I was gonna go back on live and read, but I really felt tired. So I decided, all right, let me just lay down and go sleep, yeah, man. So you know, say me not sleeping more than maybe 5 hours. 5 hours is good for me, and I feel well rested. So I went to sleep maybe around 8 something, and when I woke up, it was 1:30, I believe it was, and I was scrolling through the internet, and then I decided, let me read before, the kids get up and the noise and all of that. And since I'm all the way downstairs and they're in their bedrooms locked up, I don't think I'm disturbing them. So I just seized the opportunity. Oh, we on the same time. Oh, you was looking back for me. Yes, yes, I was, but I was so tired. So I just knowing some, I drove back down. My family was with me in North Carolina for the Thanksgiving, and I had to bring them back. So I drove back down. I drove back down with them on Saturday. So I'm here resting a little bit. Later on, I'll hit back the road and go back home because I gotta go to work. Yeah, so I gotta get back home. All right, so that is the deal. Who live with me? Nobody not live with me. Just no, nobody not live with me. Just me and my daughter. Yeah. But anyway, but anyway, yes. So now, guys, as been some say, Jeremiah seems like a troublemaker. Yes, Jeremiah do the things he does, and then now he has run away from Jerusalem, and he's now in the land of Benjamin. He's now in the land of Benjamin, but they have thrown him in prison. They have eventually thrown him in prison because of all these things that he has said. Tell me, okay, no problem. Go ahead, Sister Winsome. Go ahead, send it, send it. I'll be here, my love. Yes. So now that Jeremiah is in prison, guys, we are going to move right along into chapter 38 to find out what else is going on in Jerusalem, Babylon. What are what are the pharaohs doing in Jerusalem? And the Chaldeans who have run out of Jerusalem upon the arrival of the pharaohs, but certainly will come back according to Jeremiah. Oh, which one? My daughter? No, my daughter live with me. My daughter has always been with me, just that we have shared custody. So she spends a week with me, then a week with her other parent. Goes back and forth. But not my grandbabies. No. All right. So let us continue, guys. Follow with me in your book Bible or your Google Bible. Let us do this together. Uh-oh. His phone is about to die. That's no good. What? Anywho, let us continue. Okay, what? Let us let us continue, guys. Jeremiah chapter 38. Then Shephatiah, then Shephatiah, the son of Matan, the Gedaliah, the son of Pashur, and Jukal, the son of Shelemiah, and Pashur, the son of Malchiah. Now there are two Pashur. Gedaliah, the son of Pashur, and Jukal, the son of Shelemiah, and Pashur. Hold on, get there, guys. Let me go turn off that alarm. Okay. For those of you who are just coming, guys, we are reading the book of Jeremiah. We are on to chapter 38. So follow along with us in your book Bible or your Google Bible, whichever one is closest to you, whichever one it is that you have close by. Follow along with us as we read. Jeremiah chapter 38. Then Shephatiah the son of Matan, and Gedaliah the son of Pashur, and Jukal the son of Shelemiah, and Pashur the son of Malchiah, heard the words that Jeremiah had spoken unto all the people, saying, Thus saith the Lord, he that remains in this city shall die by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence. But he that goeth forth to the Chaldeans shall live, for he shall have his life for a prey, and shall live. Try to think Nebuchadnezzar did that to Jeremiah. Like you said, oh, but win some. That's why I say I believe Jeremiah is working undercover for Nebuchadnezzar, because everything that Jeremiah is saying to the Jewish people is in favor of Nebuchadnezzar, but against the Jewish people. Now God not tell Jeremiah nothing. What all these things he's saying is not pro-Jewish. So I'm going to believe him. And Nebuchadnezzar is enjoying the prophecies of Jeremiah because it is all in his favor. If you were Nebuchadnezzar, wouldn't you be happy that here comes the Jewish king? Think about it. Think about a country where America and that country is at odds. They are not in agreement at all. Say America and, I don't know, I'm just going to pick one country. Say America and England, then they're my friend, they're my best friend, they're my best buddies. Always in the trenches together. I rob people and teach people things and treat humans like crap. But anyway, the two of them are buddy. But imagine that the two of them were enemies. And say King Charles. Say King Charles is advising England against America. But everything that King Charles is saying to the British Prime Minister is in favor of America. You don't think the Prime Minister would have stopped and said, but wait, this not sound right? How comes King Charles telling me to take action in favor of America? Wouldn't King Charles be telling me to take actions in favor of England and against America? Well, it's the same thing. That is why the King Jehoiakim burned up the scroll. Because he's like, how in the world is the Lord telling Jeremiah? How in the world is the Lord telling Jeremiah these things? In chapter 36 and verse 29, it says, And thou shalt say to Joachim king of Judah, Thus saith the Lord, Thou hast burnt this scroll, saying, Why hast thou written therein, saying, The king of Babylon shall certainly come and destroy this land, and shall cause neither man nor beast to exist? Wouldn't you be angry? You understand why Joachim burned it up? Because that was what was written on the scroll. That says, the king of Babylon shall come take over Jerusalem, burn it, and neither man nor beast shall continue to exist, and that he shall have nobody from the tribe of David, from the descendants of David, to rule over Jerusalem anymore. He, Nebuchadnezzar, is going to appoint the king. It shall not be from the heir to the throne anymore. It shall be an appointment by King Nebuchadnezzar. Why would the Lord tell Jeremiah that that's now going to be the order of rule for the Jews? That don't make no sense. And then here now, in chapter 37, it says, King Zedekiah now reigned. He is now made king by Nebuchadnezzar instead of Coniah, the son of Jehoiakim. Jehoiakim was a descendant of David, and per the Jewish law, his son should have ruled after him. But instead, King Nebuchadnezzar appointed Zedekiah. Because you see, guys, when the kings rule from the descendants of David, they do not take orders from people like Nebuchadnezzar. Them is not like Nebuchadnezzar's lapdogs to tell them what to do for the Jewish people. So Nebuchadnezzar wants to make sure that it is somebody that he appointed to be the king, so that he can have influence over the decisions that are made for the Jews. Listen to me now, people. You don't keep your head in the sand. Take your head out of the sand and read and understand what's going on here. Now, you see how in places like Haiti, you see how whenever there is a president of a country like Haiti, a president that is not in agreement with countries like the US and France, whose philosophy is against these superpowers' philosophy for the country. You always notice the sabotages. But whenever it is a president that they appoint, you notice how things go differently. You notice them support the country. Look at it. Check it out. Now, you all remember down there in Iraq, how the powers went down there claiming them have weapons of mass destruction that cannot be found until this day. 20-something years later, still cannot be found. Make up story and tell lies and go down there. Slaughter half the people them. And then slaughter them president. And then appointed their own president. Appointed a president down there. Why you think they do that? Because this person that they have appointed to the position of the ruler of the country is now submissive to them. And them look a lapdog where they can just tell this person what to do. This is their puppet on a string. Yeah. The same here in the Bible. Know that Nebuchadnezzar has appointed Zedekiah. This is the first appointed king for the Jews. Everybody else was a succession. Now Zedekiah is appointed by Nebuchadnezzar. What do you think what happened to the Jews now? And their laws and traditions. Zedekiah, having been appointed by Nebuchadnezzar, is going to go by whatever Nebuchadnezzar tell him to do. He's not going to be doing anything now because of his loyalty to the Jews. Because that is going to go against Nebuchadnezzar and he's going to fall out of favor with Nebuchadnezzar. And him no want that. So let us continue. Verse 38. We have started this a few times, but we're going to start it again. Winsome, you make me cough. You make me cough, Winsome. Me say, David too was another one. He too. But he was a great king, according to the Bible. And as we have read, according to his accomplishments for the Jewish people, he was. But we're going to read we are going to read chapter 38. Then Shephatiah the son of Matan, and Gedaliah the son of Pashur, and Jukal the son of Shelemiah, and Pashur the son of Malchiah, heard the words that Jeremiah had spoken unto all the people, saying, Thus saith the Lord, He that remains in this city shall die by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence. But he that goeth forth to the Chaldeans shall live. For he shall have his life for prey, and shall live. Thus saith the Lord, This city shall surely be given into the hand of the king of Babylon's army, which shall take it. Which shall take it. Yeah. Which shall take it. Now when the king of Babylon takes the city of Jerusalem, what's going to happen to the Jewish people? Think about it. Let's continue. Therefore, the princes said unto the king, excuse me, We beseech thee, let this man be put to death, for thus he weakens the hands of the men of war that remain in this city, and the hands of all the people, in speaking such words unto them. For this man seeks not the welfare of this people, but the hurt. Listen, it's good for read with understanding, you know. From the time I was reading, didn't I tell you all? Didn't I tell you all that Jeremiah is not speaking for the Jews? He's speaking against them. Well, right here, you hear what the princes have said? Them said this man is not speaking for the welfare of the Jewish people. He's speaking for their hurt, which is true. Then Zedekiah the king said, Behold, he is in your hand, for the king is not he. For the king is not he that can do anything against you. Then they took Jeremiah and cast him into the dungeon of Malchiah, the son of Ahimelech, that was in the court of the prison. And they let down Jeremiah with cords, and in the dungeon there was no water but myrrh. So Jeremiah sunk in the myrrh. Now, when Abimelech, now when Abimelech the Ethiopian, this is verse 7. Now when Abimelech the Ethiopian, one of the eunuchs which was in the king's house, heard that they had put Jeremiah in the dungeon, the king then sitting in the gate of Benjamin, Abimelech went forth out of the king's house and spake to the king, saying, My lord the king, these men have done evil in all that they have done to Jeremiah the prophet, whom they have cast into the dungeon, and he is like to die for hunger in the place where he is. For there is no more bread in the city. Now, if you all remembered, when they had put Jeremiah in prison first, they said they shall feed him bread until there is no more bread left in the city. Now here Abimelech is telling the king that there is no more bread left in the city. Then the king commanded Abimelech the Ethiopian, saying, Take from hence 30 men with thee, and take up Jeremiah the prophet out of the dungeon before he dies. So Abimelech took the men with him, and went into the house of the king under the treasury, and took thence old cast cloths and old rotten rags, and let them down by cords into the dungeon to Jeremiah. Verse 12. And Abimelech the Ethiopian said unto Jeremiah, Put now these old cast cloths and rotten rags under thy armholes, under the cords. And Jeremiah did so. So they drew him up with cords and took him up out of the dungeon. And Jeremiah remained in the court of the prison. Then Zedekiah the king sent and took Jeremiah the prophet unto him into the third entry that is in the house of the Lord. And the king said unto Jeremiah, I will ask thee a thing, hide nothing from me. Then Jeremiah said unto Zedekiah, If I declare it unto thee, wilt thou not surely put me to death? And if I give thee counsel, wilt thou not hearken unto me? So Zedekiah the king swears secretly unto Jeremiah, saying, As the Lord liveth, that made us this soul, I will not put you to death, neither will I give you into the hand of these men that seek your life. Then said Jeremiah unto Zedekiah, Thus saith the Lord, the God of hosts, the God of Israel, if thou wilt assuredly go forth unto the king of Babylon's princes, then thy soul shall live, and this city shall not be burnt with fire. Let me read that again, guys. Now Zedekiah has sent for Jeremiah. Now he has taken Jeremiah into the house of the Lord. He's talking to Jeremiah. He said to Jeremiah, I'm going to ask you something. I want you to be honest with me and tell me the truth. Jeremiah said, you're sure if me tell you the truth, you're not going to make these men kill me? Him say, Zedekiah say, I swear to you, I will not. So verse 16 it says, So Zedekiah the king swears secretly unto Jeremiah, saying, As the Lord liveth, that made us this soul, I will not put thee to death, neither will I give thee into the hand of these men that seek your life. Then said Jeremiah unto Zedekiah, Thus saith the Lord, the God of hosts, the God of Israel, if thou wilt assuredly go forth unto the king of Babylon's princes, then thy soul shall live, and this city shall not be burnt with fire, and thou shalt live, and thy house. Here Jeremiah said, if Zedekiah go unto the king of Babylon, go unto the princes. But if thou wilt not go forth to the king of Babylon's princes, then shall this city be given into the hand of the Chaldeans, and they shall burn it with fire, and thou shalt not escape out of their hand. And Zedekiah the king said unto Jeremiah, I am afraid of the Jews that are fallen to the Chaldeans, lest they deliver me into their hand, and they mock me. But Jeremiah said, they shall not deliver thee. Obey, I beseech thee, the voice of the Lord, which I speak unto thee. So it shall be well with thee, and thy soul shall live. But if thou refuse to go forth, this is the word that the Lord has showed me. And behold, all the women that are left in the king of Judah's house shall be brought forth to the king of Babylon's princes. And those women shall say, thy friends have set thee on, and have prevailed against thee. Thy feet are sunk in the mire, and they are turned away back. So they shall bring out all thy wives and thy children to the Chaldeans, and thou shalt not escape out of their hand, but shalt be taken by the hand of the king of Babylon, and thou shalt cause this city to be burnt with fire. Then said Zedekiah unto Jeremiah, let no man know of these words, and thou shalt not die. So you see, I'm gonna hear this. Oh my God, Joe is here. My love is here. Joe says, I miss you. Yes, Joseph, I miss you too, my love. I was, you know how it was. But I'm here. Thanksgiving is over, and we are back on track. Okay? So guys, I want to hear Zedekiah and Jeremiah making a deal. Why you all think Jeremiah and Zedekiah are making a deal? I think it's because it was them working for the same man, Nebuchadnezzar. Because remember, Nebuchadnezzar appointed Zedekiah to be the king, instead of Coniah. Instead of appointing Coniah to be the king, because Coniah is Joachim's son, and he's the rightful owner, he's the rightful heir to the throne. But Nebuchadnezzar appointed Zedekiah. Now here Zedekiah and Jeremiah are having their little private conversation, and the two of them are swearing secrecy one to the other. Don't you think it's because they are confederates working together? Verse 24 of chapter 38. Then said Zedekiah unto Jeremiah, let no man know of these words, and thou shalt not die. But if the princes hear that I have talked with you, when you hear the conspiracy, but if the princes hear that I have talked with thee, and they come unto thee and say unto thee, declare unto us now what you said to the king. Hide it not from us, and we will not put thee to death. Also, what the king said unto you, you hear him? You hear? He said, if these princes come to you and ask you, if you talk to the king And what did you say to the king, and what did the king say to you? What them what Zedekiah tell Jeremiah say he must tell the people them? Then thou shalt say unto them, I presented my supplication before the king, that he would not cause me to return to Jonathan's. Wanna hear the lie? People, wanna hear the lie? Watch more fat now. More fat and less lean. Jack Sprat is on the scene. Oh my gosh. More fat. As you come in here, listen, I'm reading from the Bible, Moffat. Don't let me stray. Oh my God. How you doing, Moffat? Happy Monday to you, my love. I hope you're having a great Monday morning, my dear. Only you coming in. Only you coming here gonna make me lose my soul. Oh my gosh. How you doing, my love? Oh, boy, me like. Oh my gosh. How are you doing? How you and the family doing, my love? It's mutual, my dear. Let me reiterate. Oh my gosh. Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So Joseph, I bless you up there. Oh, but me a like cough. But are you alone make me stop at one live at them ungodly hours here? At 4:30 in the morning. You should be up. You should be up. Me hear them I say, Jamaican man them nah come up. What they go on? Uno fi come up at this time of the morning is the right time for you to come up. Me not say that the thing is because y'all gonna make me sin and me I read the Bible. So oh my gosh. I can't with you, Moffat. I can't. Me not go hell with you now. Me not going down there with you. You understand? Me not coming. You see what I mean? You see what I mean, Moffat? Them time of the morning, yeah. Yeah. A working time. Me I wonder if them statistics the right what them a talk about Jamaican men. Me not understand it. But go on about your business. Boy, you come. Moffat make me laugh till me cough. Listen, you cut the chat to come heal me up, you know, but I come sugar me up. Joseph, me say, Joseph, we are gonna talk about it. We are gonna talk about it sometime this week. We are gonna talk about it because the things that I must say about Jamaican men, all right. But we're gonna talk about it. Instead of go and go read because me I go mad, all right. Me don't want that to happen. So we're gonna continue. We'll continue reading. We'll continue reading the Bible. We are on to Jeremiah chapters 38 and verse 24. So Zedekiah and Jeremiah having a private conversation. The two of them are confederates working for Nebuchadnezzar. In verse 24. Then Zedekiah said unto Jeremiah, let no man know of these words, and thou shalt not die. But if the princes hear that I have spoken with you, and they come unto you and ask you to declare unto them what you and I have spoken about, and that you shouldn't hide it from them, and they will not put you to death. if they come and they ask you, then you shall say unto them, I presented my supplication before the king, that he would not cause me to return to Jonathan's house to die there. You see, the king, I tell Jeremiah now, to tell the princes this lie, to say he just went to the king to ask the king, to beg the king not to send him back to Jonathan's house because he don't want to die. And if them send him back to Jonathan's house, Jonathan's house down in the dungeon, he will surely die in the dungeon. So that was his supplication that he presented to the king. This is the agreement between Jeremiah and Zedekiah. All right, let us continue. Verse 27. Then came all the princes unto Jeremiah, and they asked him, and he told them according to all these words that the king had commanded. You see, Jeremiah willing to tell lie, but them said Jeremiah, prophet of God, who honest and speak the truth, but you don't hear the lie. So Jeremiah tell the princes the lie that him and Zedekiah agreed to. So they left off speaking with him, for the matter was not perceived. Verse 28, and this is the last verse of chapter 38. So Jeremiah abode, that means Jeremiah dwelt, Jeremiah lived in the court of the prison until the day that Jerusalem was taken, and he was there when Jerusalem was taken. And it's a same Jeremiah, yeah. The people them say was such a great and honest prophet. Because you see, somebody told them so, that Jeremiah was a great and honest prophet, but they never spent the time to read it for themselves and understand it for themselves to determine that Jeremiah was the equivalent of a modern day Confederate. So far, that is my assessment of Jeremiah. Him not easy for chew Moffat. Him not easy. Him not easy at all. So Jeremiah was there when Jerusalem was taken by the enemies. When some said, Trev, this was way back still. When some, it was way back. You know many thousands and thousands of years these writings in the Bible have been written. You know many thousands of years. These writings were written even before. Did you know that the writings of the Bible are older than the Bible itself? Because these writings are ancient writings that were written a long time ago, all from a Jewish perspective, that were later on collected and put together to make the Bible. Just like me that have one. What could I have one journal? Could I make a journal of the writings of, say, me and my sisters? If all of us had a journal and we wrote about the events of our lives growing up with our single mother. If all of us, all the writings could be collected and put together to make one book to say This is the book that explains the lives of these girls who were raised by a single mother. Me would have my accounts, and each of my sisters would have their account of every event that occurred in our lives. I don't think we would have write the very same thing. We wouldn't write the very same thing. We wouldn't feel the very same way. We would not have had the same conversations. Because maybe one of my sister could have said, well, in her journal, she could have said, well, I had a conversation with mommy. Me and mommy talked about the situation, and this is what mommy said to me. And in my account, I could say, well, I never really spoke to my mom about it. Say, for example, the fact that my dad was killed. We grew up without him. My mom had to raise us. If me and my sister had to write about our experiences before my dad died, during our grieving period, and our life afterwards, being raised by a single mother, do you think it would be the same? No, because maybe one of us had a conversation with mommy. Maybe one of us didn't. Maybe one of us was strong enough, felt a certain way about the murder, or felt a certain way about my dad even before he passed, that we were not willing to share with anybody. Our experiences are going to be different. And if we document it, and it's brought forth into a collection, then that's what it is. And others who are reading it are going to be able to look at the thoughts of the writer. Because that's what we do when we read somebody's thoughts that they put on paper. We are able to assess their thoughts, because every writing originated as a thought. So it's the same way with the Bible. You understand? And Jeremiah gave his account of what he did. What he did and what he didn't do, what he said and didn't say. And Jeremiah masked it all and said, God tell him this and God tell him that. While Jeremiah, undercover, I work with the enemy against his people. I think he was getting paid. I believe he was getting paid by Nebuchadnezzar. Because you see people, you see my friends, Nebuchadnezzar's objective was to eliminate the Jewish people from the region. That was his objective, along with the other dynasties that existed around there. Their objective was to get rid of the Jewish people. So you see, if you want to get rid of a people, how better to get rid of them? How is the best way to get rid of them than it is to find somebody amongst them to work undercover for you, to sabotage everything that they are trying to do? Jeremiah was the mole in the camp of the Jews. And the fact that they believed in him as a prophet that claimed that he was coming from God, he ruined his reputation when the people realized that, no, sir, the things that Jeremiah said don't sound right. These things don't sound like they're in favor of the Jews at all. These things sound like they're coming from the mouth of somebody who really hates the Jews, who really wants to see us annihilated. And that is why they eventually turned against Jeremiah. That is why they eventually turned against him, because they started to wise up and assess his contribution to their society as a member. And it was everything that he was saying and doing was against them and their society and their prosperity. It was in favor of the enemy. And that is why King Jehoiakim burnt up the scroll that Jeremiah had Baruch to write, claiming that the Lord told him. You understand me? Moffat, go on your bed. Sleep well and sleep tight. The Ocharina fall again. Okay. Yeah. So that is why King Jehoiakim burnt up the scroll. And you see, after King Jehoiakim burned up the scroll, Nebuchadnezzar take over. He appointed Zedekiah the king. So Coniah couldn't be the king anymore to inherit his father Jehoiakim's throne. And Jeremiah is there getting information. And Zedekiah is there getting information. And the two of them together working for Nebuchadnezzar. Now, guys, read the Bible for yourselves. And if you don't want to read it for yourselves, join me over here every morning where I read it for you, for us, and break it down for you, for us, so we can understand what is in the Bible for ourselves rather than be told what is in it. Guys, that's where I'm going to end this morning. I want to say thanks to everybody who got out of their beds and those who are still in their beds but came into the reading this morning with me as we analyze this Jeremiah here. When we come back tomorrow morning, we will continue with the reading of the book of Jeremiah. When we come back tomorrow, we will be reading Jeremiah chapters 39 and 40 as we continue on our quest to discover all these writings in the Bible to see how they apply to our lives today and understand for ourselves what they mean to us in today's society. All right? Where you're still in your bed, only your eyes open? Well, that's not bad. Only your eyes up. Watch yourself, Joe. Watch yourself. Yes, God. Me feel so me feel anxious. Me feel anxious, but me feel so excited after having read that. I am here talking to you all and looking over Jeremiah chapter 39. I feel like I want to read it, but I'm going to let what I have read already soak in. Think about it. If you all want to go back and read it for yourselves, go ahead and read it for yourselves. I'm not going to make my curiosity rule me this morning. I'm not going to move on. I'm not going to read Jeremiah 39. I feel like it, but I'm going to leave it for tomorrow morning. Yeah, I'm going to leave it for tomorrow morning. Yes, Joe. Yeah, tomorrow morning when we come, we will read chapters 39 and 40. So once again, I want to say thanks to everybody who has come into the live. I sincerely appreciate you all. Thank you all so much for stopping by. Those of you who have been with us since we started reading the Bible, I want to say thank you so much. Those of you who are just coming in and just discovering that we are reading the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, boy, me no want to say you're late, but we are way more than halfway through. The rest of the year or the next 6 months should see us reading the entire Bible, but we're not going to be in a hurry. We are still going to take our time to read and understand it, because after I read it, I'm gonna have to go back and start over and use the jottings from this reading, to help us to understand it even better. We're gonna do it. The longest journey starts with the first step. And that is where we are going to end this morning reading. Thank you guys for coming. I will see you all again later on. Joe, what's the temperature like up there? I know it's probably cold up there. Yeah, I'm down here in the warmth, but I'm sure when I'm going back, I'm going to go back in the cold. But that's okay. All right. But that's going to be it from me for this morning, my friends. Until next time. This is Trev from Trev Essence, where your journey matters. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. And I'll see you all later.